The protagonist recounts his story, beginning with his first attempt at drinking. The experience left him feeling nauseous and dizzy, and it was at that moment he became disillusioned with the idea altogether. On top of that, he was already dealing with academic pressure, and the situation weighed heavily on him. As he mulled over everything, a charming girl approached and asked if he was feeling bored. He apologized, but she reassured him, saying, "Don't worry about being in a place you don't enjoy just because of Sunday struggles. Sometimes it can still be fun. I hope this doesn't stop you from enjoying yourself because the future holds so much uncertainty." Their chat was soon interrupted by another girl who proposed they head to karaoke. He felt uneasy, unsure of his singing ability, and contemplated leaving. Suddenly, a freshman suggested they sneak away together, as she too couldn't drink anymore. His concern about being noticed was met with her confident reply, "Let's slip away quietly." She had been drinking heavily and insisted, so eventually, they both left unnoticed. They wandered together, though he felt a tinge of regret about leaving, as he wanted to stay for another girl who had caught his attention. For the first time, he wondered if he might be falling in love. The girl who accompanied him offered to treat him to ramen, mentioning she couldn't drink any longer. However, once they reached his place and started eating, she opted to drink juice instead. When he pointed this out, she laughed, saying, "We're going to study hard together and spend so much time with each other. Isn't this worth celebrating? Aren't you glad you came with me?" Feeling grateful, he decided to join her in drinking juice. During their conversation, she reminded him of all the times she had helped him, saving him from dogs, standing up to bullies, and even assisting with paperwork. She teased him, saying, "Now call me Nuna." Embarrassed, he refused, insisting it wasn't appropriate. To change the subject, she congratulated him on getting into university and mentioned she'd be graduating soon. Wanting to lighten the mood, she asked if he had a girlfriend in mind. At that moment, his thoughts immediately turned to the girl from karaoke. After finishing their meal, the girl headed back to her house. Left alone, he began talking to himself. "I'm not sure how I feel about all this," he murmured. "Would it be nice to date someone? Do I even stand a chance?" Lost in thought, he was startled by a sudden knock at his door. Assuming it was his Nuna returning, he opened it, but to his shock, it was the karaoke girl who had been on his mind. Before he could react, she entered his house and collapsed onto his bed. Bewildered, he tried to stop her and explain she might have come to the wrong place, but she ignored him entirely. The moment she lay down, she fell asleep instantly. Confused and unsure of what to do, he thought to himself, "Isn't this the sunbae from the welcome party? She didn't seem that drunk during the second round." Struggling to make sense of the situation, he wondered anxiously, "Should I call Daeon?" Suddenly feeling hot, she began to instinctively remove extra layers in her sleep. Confused, he decided to wait things out in the bathroom. Sitting on the toilet, he pondered, "Why did she come to me? Is she my neighbor? How did such a beautiful girl end up in my bed?" Lost in thought, he woke up the next morning when she started shaking him awake. Concerned, she thought he wasn't waking up. As she moved towards the shower, he started apologizing, but she reassured him, saying she had mistaken the apartments. She recognized him from the party and introduced herself as Lee Eun-young. He reciprocated, introducing himself as Lee Hein-ho. The following day, during their study session, he felt completely distracted, like a pillar stuck in place. His Nuna tried to engage him in conversation, but his mind was elsewhere, completely consumed by thoughts of Lee Eun-young. Despite his preoccupation, the girl who had tried to talk to him earlier still managed to get a response. She invited him to dinner and asked why he seemed so distant, sitting with such a strange expression. He responded that something good had happened and, after a brief pause, added, "So, if there's someone you like, I think I have someone too." Upon hearing this, she blushed and inquired where this girl was from. He replied that she was from their university. She mistakenly assumed he was talking about her and awkwardly replied that she wasn't ready yet. But then, he said the name of the girl he liked, and that's when she realized he wasn't referring to her at all. A wave of disappointment washed over her. Curious, Hein-ho asked if she knew this girl well and added that he had heard some rumors about her, wondering if they were true. The girl didn't want to answer, so she quickly responded that she didn't know anything. Trying to hide her emotions, she said she would go buy him a sandwich for breakfast. During dinner, they continued their conversation, and the girl remarked, "As you can see, she's incredibly beautiful. People say she could be a model or even a celebrity, but that's just a rumor. Isn't it strange that she doesn't have a boyfriend? Don't get your hopes up just yet. She has very high standards, or perhaps she simply doesn't want a relationship at all. At worst, she might even be interested in girls." Hanho, unsure of how to respond, asked her what she thought. At first, she hesitated, reluctant to answer. But then, she suddenly said about the study of history. She explained that Young was part of the history study group and often spent time with people from there. If he could join the group, it might give him the chance to get closer to her. Imagining the possibilities, Hanho felt a surge of excitement. Noticing his enthusiasm, the girl interrupted his thoughts, suggesting he ask about joining the group at the university. She added that they didn't accept just anyone, but it was worth a try. Later, Young stopped by her friends in the history group but left almost immediately to approach Hanho. She brought him a cake, saying she owed him from last time. As she turned to leave, he gathered the courage to ask if he could join the group. Smiling, she took his phone and saved her number in it, instructing him to call her the next day after classes. Then, she left. Hanho stared at her number on his phone, his heart swelling with joy, though his Nuna noticed everything. The next day, Hanho couldn't focus during class. His mind was consumed by anticipation, eagerly waiting for the lesson to end so he could call Young. Finally, the moment came, and they arranged to meet. Young led him to a massive building that housed their study quarters. The space seemed far too grand for a study group, but Hanho brushed it off, focusing on the fact that he was with her. As soon as they entered, a girl from the group ran up to him, hugged him tightly, and called him cute. He froze in surprise as the other guys in the room turned to stare at him. Hanho introduced himself confidently, saying, "My name is Lee Hanho, and I'm a freshman in business administration. Nice to meet you." A buff guy stepped forward and introduced himself. "I'm Choi Jang, a sophomore in social service." Soon after, another handsome student joined the conversation. "Gang Jong Pil," he said, "second year, same department." Then, the girl who had hugged him earlier chimed in. "Hey, don't forget about me. I'm Han Soo-hyun, a sophomore in social service too," she said with a teasing smile. She playfully suggested, "Let's play with my joysticks later," but Jong Pil quickly intervened. "Don't even think about it," he warned Hanho. "She's dating Choi Jang." Finally, another girl spoke up. "Kang Hyunmi here. We've had a class together, right? Consider me your tutor," she said with a friendly nod. As Hanho observed the group, he noticed something peculiar. A professor was among them. He found it odd but decided to keep his suspicions to himself. Meanwhile, Han Soo-hyun enthusiastically suggested having a welcome party. Off to the side, Han Soo-hyun and Jong Pil whispered to each other. Soo-hyun remarked, "Don't you like him? I thought you wanted another hole, not a stick." Jong Pil replied, "We haven't decided yet. He'll only join after the test." Soo-hyun smirked and added, "Well, he's still cute. But don't let your guard down. Guys like him often turn out to be monsters." Han Soo-hyun asked Hanho why he decided to join their group, and he replied earnestly, "Because I like history." His response made her laugh, and when he turned the question on her, asking why she was part of the group, she simply said, "For fun." As he observed the group, Hanho couldn't help but think about Young. At the freshman welcome party, she had seemed so bored, yet now, she looked genuinely happy while planning something with Soo-hyun. After joining the group, Hanho had a strange dream where Young was playing a game with him. But when he woke up, he realized it wasn't a dream. Soo-hyun was actually playing a game with him. He felt a bit awkward, worrying about her having a boyfriend, but Soo-hyun laughed it off, telling him to listen to the sounds. In the background, he heard her boyfriend and the professor playing a different game in another room. As it was his first time playing, Hanho couldn't believe how easily he had joined in. Soo-hyun played alongside him, and during the game, she noticed something odd about his controller. It seemed different, but he continued without hesitation. Intrigued, she couldn't figure out what was happening. Despite the confusion, she found herself enjoying the game more than expected. Soo-hyun thought to herself, this guy is something else. Realizing it was his first game, she offered to let him start the second round. There was something undeniably sweet about him that caught her off guard. After they finished, they cleaned up, and Soo-hyun explained something to him. Now you know what play learning is, she said with a grin. He looked puzzled, so she elaborated. We named it that to keep others from joining us. Then, with a congratulatory smile, she welcomed him officially. From now on, she added, you'll get to play with every girl in the group. At first, Hein-ho didn't fully understand what Soo-hyun meant. She began explaining everything, and out of curiosity, he asked about Eun-young. Soo-hyun informed him that Eun-young didn't actively participate in their lessons. As their conversation grew more relaxed, Soo-hyun revealed a calmer and sweeter side of her personality. She explained the structure of their group training. To Hein-ho's surprise, he learned that Eun-young was the one who had created the group. However, no one knew the true purpose of the group except her. Soo-hyun also explained the rules. 1. The club's existence must remain a secret. 2. Eun-young is merely a facilitator and does not participate in the lessons. 3. All lessons must be reported to the facilitator. 4. The facilitator is in charge of allocating funds and arranging study spaces, including their current room. 5. Most importantly, members must train at least once a week, or they will be removed from the club. Soo-hyun also mentioned some perks, saying, we can pay for your housing, and you'll earn money while you study. It's convenient. But despite her enthusiasm, Hein-ho hesitated and decided to refuse, saying he needed to focus on other training. Hearing this, Soo-hyun became visibly worried. She didn't want to lose him and tried to persuade him. It's because you can't practice with Eun-young, isn't it? I get it. Everyone wants to study with her. She's so pretty. Even my boyfriend, Choi Jang, thinks about it. Do you know that she only hangs out with people from group training? So, most likely, the one who starts studying with her will be a guy from our club. Just imagine another guy studying with Eun-young. This struck a nerve with Hein-ho, and he quickly changed his mind. He told her he would join, which made Soo-hyun ecstatic. Overjoyed, she jumped with excitement and suggested they continue his studies. When he hesitated again, she insisted, if you want to study with Eun-young, you need to be smart and ready. At that moment, Hein-ho couldn't think clearly. Perhaps the remnants of the drink were still affecting him. All he knew was that this was the only way to get closer to Eun-young and protect her from other guys. During the training session, exhaustion caught up with him, and he dozed off. A little while later, Eun-young called to check on the results of their test. Soo-hyun enthusiastically reported back, saying, he's a bit clumsy, but it's his first time. He has huge potential. With that, Hein-ho officially passed their test. That's all for today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments. And please, hit that subscribe button. It really helps keep us motivated to bring you more exciting manhwa content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.